Is there a more confusing player in the Premier League than Trent Alexander-Arnold? It was clear when he was a teenager that he possesses ability that no other players in the world possess, and that he's such a unique player that he is definitely one of the world's best in certain aspects. But he predominantly plays right back and he isn't very good at defending, which has led a lot of people to question where he should play and if he's even good enough to play for Liverpool at times, showing that he's not even getting into the England side as well. But recently Jurgen Klopp has given him a new role which is just for him, and he's been much better and the performances have been much more improved since then. But what actually makes Trent Alexander-Arnold so good now? Trent's technical ability has probably been one of the best in the world since he started playing football. He's got an impressive aspect of crossing and long passes that just seems so easy for him to do. Because of this ability, Liverpool have used this in many years to get him on the ball more, and he's had to obviously play a lot. Often Liverpool have used this to get out of a press, giving the ball to Trent so he can pass the ball quite far away or over the top for the front attackers. This is something so unique about Liverpool because they knew they could just give the ball to Trent and he could just get him out of any situation, easily putting the ball out to the complete other side of the pitch. And when you have a delivery as good as him, and from right back he's got 55 Premier League assists in just 200 games, nearly 1 every 4 games, then it was just a massive asset for Liverpool to have going forward. However, Liverpool were used to controlling games, and since in the last 2 years their team have kind of fallen off a little bit and they've lost a lot of their pressure in the midfield, which means they have a lot more teams coming at them a lot more often. This has led to opposing managers often targeting Trent because he's not a very good one-on-one defender and he's not very good at tracking runners, and a lot of the big Liverpool goals they have conceded, such as the Champions League final against Real Madrid, were down on Trent's side where he's not looking and not marking a player back post. And although this hasn't really changed, Trent hasn't really got better at one-on-one defending. The best thing for Liverpool is to try and get him to play and try and work around it, try and get Trent on the ball more and trying to keep the pressure off him. Now, since Liverpool were getting dominated by Arsenal at Anfield last season, they actually changed a new system in that game halfway through, and since then Trent has basically stayed in the same role from then onwards. Obviously they got a draw in that game and Trent was very influential. When Liverpool have possession, instead of Trent going out wide so he can switch to play, he actually comes inside now in inverts and sits with the other midfielder. Now before this would have been Fabinho, but now they don't have a proper defensive midfielder, so it's usually McAllister or Szoboszlai coming in to help. And now Liverpool's midfield is a bit confusing right now. I did a video about Szoboszlai and about how that midfield works a bit more if you want to check that out, but Trent basically comes in when he needs to and he literally sits next to McAllister most of the time, but now that's been changed for Gravenberch in the last recent game. This is so Trent can get on the ball more in midfield so he can be more influential, do them long passes that we like to see from big midfielders, trying to get the long ball up for the team, and he's also a pressure there just in case they need to press or keep the ball in a high state of the pitch. Now before, Klopp really didn't want to do this because he obviously wanted to keep Trent out there just in case the other players get in behind, but now he just seems like he goes balls to the wall and it's just all out attack, and if it goes over then they just take it under the chin. Against Man City, Trent wasn't really doing great defensively. Doku was much better at dribbling against him and just kept getting past him on that right side. And while there's no point of having a right back sitting there getting sat down every second, they actually decided to kind of remove Trent from that situation and get him more in that central role so other players can go out there and try and pressure Doku. This meant that even when Manchester City had the ball in defence, Liverpool pressed together with Trent being in midfield already. This allowed him to intercept passes in midfield and be influential. Bernardo Silva was usually on him for most of the game, but it also meant that Bernardo Silva couldn't really do a lot when Trent was so close to him the whole time, with Liverpool having a lot of cover in that midfield on the defenders. Obviously this is a risk because Doku is in behind and then has quite a free run at Matip in that defence, but Trent weren't really doing much defensively anyway, so I guess this is a risk you're just going to take from now on, and Doku didn't have the best end product this game. And specifically in this Manchester City game, Trent was very aggressive in the team. He actually stayed into that centre midfield role most of the game, and he did push out to the right sometimes when Liverpool moved the other way. As you can see here, Doku tries to get in behind, but Trent is quite far up considering the rest of his defenders, but he does well to get the interception. Obviously this is a massive risk if it goes through, but they wanted to be proactive, especially in that second half with Trent going further up the pitch. And Trent was much better in that midfield when he had someone like Gravenberch come on, because Gravenberch likes putting away Rodri and doing a lot of movement in that midfield. This let Trent have a little bit more space in that midfield because everyone would have to come over if Gravenberch goes past Rodri. And despite Trent actually being kind of a defender, he is probably one of the best technical abilities in the team. So even with the goal, as you saw, that Gakpo moved away from the defender to give Trent that space, and obviously he took it brilliantly and equalised. This is the plan with Trent. He's basically playing as an inverted fullback, which basically means he's a midfielder most of the time. He will sit in that right back position when they haven't got the ball, but he'll be quite aggressive in the press. He'll be trying to be up the pitch a lot further more than the defenders. And honestly, this is a great performance by Trent. I know he got done a lot of times by the defenders, by Doku in the first half, but as a defender, you can see how good he is. He made so many possession ones in that game, and he even had so many chances created for the team. His technical ability allows him to basically do what he wants when he wants because he's that good on the ball. So you can trust him to make a great pass or great decision, even if he's not doing brilliant defensively. Liverpool obviously are able to do this as well because Matip and Van Dijk, who played in this game, are quite fast and quite good at getting to the ball on that right side. Trent's role is different when he plays for England, as he's been playing in midfield recently in that right centre mid role. This is basically the same role, but he's not inverting because in football in the Premier League is a lot more fluid than international football, which is much more compact and people have a lot more set position. This is so when England have settled possession and have the ball in their own half, Trent is a good player to give the ball to because he can do brilliant long passes to the team over the top. Also, he can bring the ball forward and be inside the box, but he isn't a brilliant ball carrier. For Liverpool though, it's important that Trent stays away from the other midfielder in the pivot. Now the issue is this worked a lot better with a proper DM like Fabinho, because Fabinho is brilliant on the ball and had brilliant interception and tackle numbers, but with someone like McAllister or Gravenberch, they aren't proper DMs, they more want to play as an 8, so they want to go forward. This leaves Liverpool extremely open, and down that right side with Trent, if he's really pushed up and they get in behind him, then it could be some serious issues for the team, being a 3-on-3 in defence. But the most of the plan is just to get Trent as far away as the box as possible, because when he makes poor decisions in the box, it has cost Liverpool in the past, but if he's so far away and the ball goes over the top of him on the halfway line, at least they can recover then. And this means Trent has actually been the furthest back for Liverpool in that midfield, turning into a 3-2-5 usually, but has been a bit more progression because some people like Szoboszlai sometimes comes back a bit more. The issue is with Liverpool, they need to find the balance between Trent, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Elliott and McAllister playing. Whoever plays in that needs to have that role, because as much as it is great having people run off the ball such as Gravenberch and Gakpo when he comes on so Trent gets a bit of space, you need that space for people like Szoboszlai as well, because he's a brilliant technical ability and has actually got great striking power. But this isn't happening because Liverpool are trying to do too much to give Trent the ball sometimes, rather than other players in their team that also are very good technically. And another issue at the start was that Trent was basically playing right back, but they didn't have much pressure down that right side. So say if the team pressed them a lot on that right side, Salah would have to come back and sort of try and pass it with the goalkeeper or the players because Trent is moving to midfield. This is an issue because Liverpool want to get their 3-2-5 attacking phase when they have the ball, and they need Salah basically to be on that last defender, being able for that over the top through ball from Trent or someone else, as he is their best attacking player and their top goal scorer all the time. However, this has actually been dilated a little bit because Szoboszlai does help in that right side as well. Szoboszlai is a very fluid midfielder and likes running around everywhere, and when Gravenberch comes on as well, he's usually on the left side and does the same thing on the left side, where they will happily go down the wing if they need that pressure there. Trent is an amazing player, and against Man City he actually was overall quite good, even though, you know, he still struggled defensively a bit. The issue is for Liverpool trying to get that midfield to work with that defence. They've struggled defensively a lot this season, have been saved by Alisson quite a lot. He saved 5 more expected goals than he should have, but Liverpool have given up such a big expected goals per game, so they probably will concede a lot of goals in a lot of different games still, because Trent, and they're playing a very aggressive style of football with Trent going really forward and all the midfield being so far pushed up. However, a downside to this is meaning that Trent isn't overlapping and getting them elevated right areas of the pitch, so his assists will definitely go down as he is trying harder balls from a further distance. But this helps Liverpool balance their team a bit more, with Trent being a bit further back in that midfield and being willing to get back in defence rather than just being so far forward and not really coming back. Overall, Liverpool are title contenders this season, definitely, and Trent is a brilliant player. There is definitely places in that team that are a bit of an issue, but we'll see if they sort it out before the end of the season. Thank you for watching, and please let me know who you want me to do next.